everyone, and welcome back. I'm John Lincove.
I'm Kelly Funkhauser.
And I'm Mike Monticello.
And this episode of Talking Cars, we're going to be discussing an EV, the new Hyundai Kona Electric, which we bought, of course, like all the cars we test. We bought an SEL, so it's a 2024 Kona Electric SEL, which is the mid-level trim, and it costs $36,675. We got floor mats, cargo tray, and mud guards.
Cool.
For this front-wheel drive, non-off-roading, non-SUV. Total $450 of options with the $1,335 destinations charge. And Mike, you need to do a story on the ever-increasing destination charges again.
It's a follow-up to the original.
Yes, because they're
crazy.
They're crazy. Yeah. I mean, I can't believe that. $38,460 total for the car. So there are two versions of powertrains with the Kona. So the base model, which we don't have, has a 48.6 kilowatt hour battery and a 99 kilowatt motor. So the small one. But this one has a 150 kilowatt electric motor equivalent of about 201 horsepower, 64.8 kilowatt hour battery. Hyundai claims that the 11 kilowatt onboard charger means you could charge it to 100% on level 2 charger in 6 hours. Takes 65 minutes on a DC fast 50 kilowatt hour charger to go from 10 to 80%. And on those elusive 100 kilowatt hour DC fast chargers, it would only take 45 minutes. So not a massive battery, but pretty useful in the sense that you can drop it off and go somewhere without having to worry about it being like hours and hours.
Right. And we were just talking about percentages there, but
yes,
total, we're going to get over 250 miles of range in this version.
Exactly. Yeah. So Kelly, tell us what you think about it on the feel, because you did have some comments, particularly about the interior and the controls and such like that.
Yeah. So this vehicle isn't one of those futuristic spaceship iPads on wheels that a lot of the EVs we're seeing really kind of look like. So this has generally good controls and displays and feels kind of like a regular gas-powered car. So if you're looking for those creature comforts and familiarity, this is really a good choice for you. Mm-hmm. And specifically, we've even seen, some of those new types of controls and displays, touchscreen based, and others, even in other Hyundai, Kia, Genesis brands. So it was nice to see this one have a full hard button climate control display. Yeah. Very welcome to be able to quickly, especially we're kind of in the changing seasons right now, right? So I want it kind of warm in the morning, but when I leave, I want it cool. So I want to be able to quickly do that when I get into the car.
Yeah, no, very nice. Similar to the regular version, it's nice that they're not reinventing the electric from the conventional Kona. So
right.
Yeah, very nice. Let me ask you a question about it. What do you think about how it stacks up to a regular internal combustion engine car? So like the EV-ness, because again, it's not purely an EV. It's a blend between the two types of powertrains that you could get in the body style. I mean,
right. So it's not an expensive car, but it's still an EV. So the price point is a little higher than if you were to just get a gas-powered car.
Sure.
But you should also remember, not a luxury car. It's not going to be the quietest, most comfortable, all of those types of ride and handling of this vehicle, but it's still very good in terms of all of those things, right? So not topping the charts, but it's going to be a generally nice ride, keeping in mind the price point.
Right.
And the acceleration's pretty good with the EV, and overall it's generally very okay.
Yeah. Well, Mike, so the driving experience on it, like a lot of Hyundai Kia products, availability, the ability to change the regeneration and such.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good things about this vehicle, with the $38,000 as tested price maybe being one of the best, right? When you think of how many expensive EVs there are out there and that we end up having to test, this is one of the more affordable EVs with still a reasonable range. It's not like it's 200 miles of range, right?
Yeah,
like we've seen with some. So this is reasonable. And so in most ways, it's really good, and we can get more in depth into the powertrain, but just kind of my overview of the car is that I think the EV part is really good. The powertrains are really decent. It's not like it's brimming with power, but
is it asking for that in that class?
No,
really?
And then just the way they tuned the one pedal driving, the accelerator pedal, we can get more into that.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead. Well, yeah, explain.
But I was just going to say, it's just compromised by a couple things that would really bother me, which is plastic door armrests. And that might seem so minor, but your left elbow's there all the time, right? And so that's at $38,000. So on the one hand, 38,000 is great for what you're getting from in the EV part of it, but then you've got some interior parts that just aren't so great. And then just the fact that, and this has been happening with lots of Hyundais lately, is that you can't see the upper part of, you can't see certain aspects of the instrument panel screen with the steering wheel where you want it, because you're trying to see through a round thing that's rectangular. So we can get more into that. But as far as the EV part of it, the powertrain, I think, look, it only has 201 horsepower, which doesn't sound like much and isn't that much, but it's a reasonably small car, reasonably light for an EV. And if you get on the I was going to say gas.
Yes.
If you get on the accelerator pedal hard, especially like leaving from a stop, it's going to work the traction control system pretty hard, right? So there's some zip there where you will notice that it's a little down on power compared to a lot of EVs that we've tested, is once you're at like 50 miles an hour or so, and you want more, there isn't a lot left in reserve.
That's another car on
right.
the
But below that, you would never even think anything of it. You'll think this is great, right? And of course, it's super smooth. And you were talking about the regen braking, and right?
Yeah.
So
no, definitely, because there's different methods.
Right.
Every manufacturer looks at it, or most manufacturers look at it a different way. So it'd be good to go into a little bit of what
we love the way Hyundai, Kia, Genesis do their the ability to adjust the regenerative braking on the fly with the paddles behind the steering wheel. They all do it, and you add a regen aggressiveness with the left paddle, and you just take it right back out if you don't want it. And they have basically, you have coasting, and then it goes up to if coasting feels like a normal vehicle, and up to level 4, which they call I-pedal max regen, and that is what is one pedal driving. And what we mean by one pedal driving, for those that don't know, it means you basically you're controlling the car's acceleration and braking just with the accelerator pedal, to the point that you can bring it to a full stop. And a couple things: one, we love those paddles, right? It's just so easy to use. I don't know why every EV doesn't do it. It's kind of crazy they don't. Two, there is some tuning involved with that accelerator pedal, right? We've noticed some don't do it that well, and you have to be super careful and conscious with your right foot when you're coming off, or else it's going to jerk the car forwards, right? We don't want that. They did a really great job with that, and pretty good in terms of how strong it is. So you do have to do some planning, right? If you want to come to a stop at that stop sign or stoplight, you do have some pre-planning when you're going to back off the accelerator pedal.
But it's a learning. I mean, it would be like any, just
they did a good job.
Brake pedals.
I mean, honestly, it's really good. There's almost nothing to complain with as far as that aspect. And that's, again, for this price, to have the EV part be so well done, it's fantastic.
Right. So we know a lot of people really like one pedal driving, but we also know a lot of people like no regenerative braking, so that kind of coast mode. So as Monty was saying, the ability to quickly switch in between those two and have also levels in between is really nice, so that you can switch. And then as you were just saying as well, the tuning of that one pedal drive is really nice and doesn't feel like a lot of effort. Some of the regenerative braking systems we've experienced in other brands, you almost get exhausted and tired after a while.
Because you have to think about it all the time, right? Is that what you mean? Yeah.
And so this one seems effortless.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
What do you think about this as more of a travel car versus a local car? I mean, because it touched on the noise.
Yeah.
It's one of the benefits of the EV in that you don't have that engine, but now you hear everything. So unless they're weighing it down with a lot of noise deadening, noise cancellation software, thicker windows, you're going to hear the things that the engine drowned out. Kelly, I mean, if you want to take it first.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So you're definitely going to get some of that road noise and wind noise. Again, this is a more economical vehicle.
Sure.
So just be aware of that, but it's not awful by any means. It's to be expected. There's no, weird whistling or howling that's obnoxious. It is kind of noisy. Mm-hmm. But when you're going around town, of course, at the lower city speeds, it's not going to be as bad as once you get up on the highway and you get a lot more of that wind noise.
Yeah, it's definitely louder than most EVs that, of course, we haven't tested this yet, but it's going through our test program. So it is on the louder side among EVs, and has nothing to do with the EV part of it, right? There's almost no electric motor whine, which can be annoying as well. This one doesn't really have that. It's just like you said, it's the road noise almost any time, and then wind noise, again, above 50 miles an hour. The car feels a bit under-insulated, but again, not surprising considering their price point, right?
Exactly. They needed to kind of cut costs in a way somewhere. So we have the plastic trim and this. So
if you're expecting a near silent EV,
right,
this
is not the one for you. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, and it's true. And I mean, it almost fits more of the around town, the short trip, the bringing kids or family to places versus, well, I need an EV. It's going to take me 400 miles and I'm going to be on the highway. That's going to be a slog, I think, if you're taking it for long trips.
Yeah.
So given the upheaval that's going on kind of this week, these last couple weeks with charging, so you have the CCS charging standard, which most cars use, most companies use. Then you have NACS, which is the Tesla standard. And now Tesla's opening up NACS to everyone else, and they're going to put adapters in, they're going to put plugs in their car. You have adapters that you could get. Ford announced that you could buy an adapter now. It's the first automaker. Would you want to buy a car that right now has CCS, that's pretty efficient, that does all the job and also is relatively affordable? I mean, if you lease this, you're getting money off as well, so it becomes even more affordable. Or would you wait till the chargers are standardized more, you have the options are more figured out? Where would you go with it?
You want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I would say it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to wait to get the new NACS, the NAC or QS chart.
NACS, yep. Whatever it is.
LMNOP.
Tesla charger. We'll just call it Tesla charger.
Right. To get that one actually built into your car, I don't think it necessarily makes sense because it is so easy to just have an adapter, right? And if you're going to be charging mostly at home, which we know people generally do, you can kind of keep that adapter at home.
Sure, especially at 6 hours isn't bad, to fully charge if you really need to fully charge.
Right. And most of the public chargers out there, the CCS still exist, right? And we know that as this transition phase continues, a lot of those will end up having the two plugs on them, right? So you can go to a public charger and you might have both plugs options to plug into your car, just like you would with a gas station, right? You've got the green pump for the diesel and the black one for the regular fuel. That's probably a similar setup to what we're going to see in the future. So again, easy adapter, or we're going to see this kind of transition phase with the public chargers anyway. I wouldn't wait if that's what you're worried about.
Totally agree. Yeah, I wouldn't wait. If you want this car, get it right now. There's going to be adapters, no question about it. It's not set in stone exactly. Do you only get the adapter from Hyundai? Can you get it, from a third party on Amazon? We're not 100% sure about that, but we will be fiddling with that. So we certainly will get, we have a Ford adapter on order, correct?
Two of them.
Yep.
And we will fiddle with aftermarket ones or third party, whatever you want to call them as well. But I wouldn't worry about that in terms of, I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to get an adapter for your EV when you need to get it.
It's not as if CCS is going away.
Exactly.
It's just that more are going to have that. So there will still be, all the DC fast chargers out right now are the CHAdeMO standard, which is Nissan Leaf, and that's, I believe, it in the United States. I could see those being replaced with CCS, with NACS.
Right.
So then you have those two choices. So you'll still have choices. But, the thing is, the Tesla network is expansive, robust. You don't hear about the Tesla ones broken. You don't hear about the Tesla ones with the damaged cables, which you unfortunately hear about with Electrify America and EV Go and all the, all these other ones, ChargePoint, all the other ones that are catch as catch can. So
the Tesla network is better maintained.
Yeah. But you pay for it too. They're pricey. They're going to be pricey.
So now that those are starting to open up to all of the other brands, you're going to have more choices out there. And so if anything, it now is a good time to go and purchase an EV because you're going to have more infrastructure out there available to you.
And hopefully it brings up the game of those other ones to actually maintain their networks and the advertised speeds. Well, we're putting it through our test. We're putting it on the miles. Like any EV, takes a little more time because there's the charging, but we will have more information on consumerreports.org about the Hyundai Kona Electric. And now we're going to go to the question part of the show. As always, send in your text questions, send in email, video, short video clips, talkingcars@icloud.com. Our first question comes from Keith, who says, I'm wondering if CR has completed any research on whether today's 12-volt batteries are powerful enough for EVs. 12-volt battery problems seem to be a recurring theme across the board. Not only the battery itself, but the challenges getting the issue properly diagnosed, approvals for warranty repairs, length of time the vehicle is out of service, loaner availability, etc. From the related posts across multiple social media problems, I assure you that there is an audience that will be keenly interested in CR's thoughts. So, first off, Kelly, why is there a 12-volt battery in an electric vehicle? Doesn't it have a giant battery as big as this table?
Right. Yes. So people should be aware that there is a 12-volt battery in an EV. Right. I guess that's the first take-home lesson today, right? Mm-hmm. There is one of those. And the purpose of it is for some of those low-powered things that you need when your car is off, right? So accessing, using your key fob, proximity sensors, things like that to walk up to your car and the battery's not completely, dead or off. You need to have a little bit of power going to those things. So there's a lot of things that use the 12-volt battery. So first of all, there is one.
Yep.
And people should be aware of that. And it's just like a 12-volt battery on a gas-powered car, right? It's got an expiration date and a short life as well.
Sure.
Right.
Mike, you did some question and answer on internally on this, on why they're draining.
Yeah, so I talked to Mike Crossan, one of our mechanics, and he's on the show at times, so everyone should know him. And he said they absolutely are aware of some EVs, the 12-volt battery draining abnormally quickly. And we've actually had that experience with one EV, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 that we have in our test fleet. The 12-volt battery has drained twice. We've brought it to the dealer, and so far, the dealer says there's nothing wrong with the 12-volt battery. So that's another story to come. But most of our EVs, we haven't had any problems with this, right? And I think it's important, as you touched on, Kelly, you still need to remember that there is a 12-volt battery, just like a regular internal combustion engine car. And to that end, those batteries need to be replaced every 4 or 5 years. Count on that same thing with your EV's 12-volt battery. And two things that Professor Crossan, as I call him, said, his two pieces of advice. A, definitely still make sure you have your scheduled maintenance done on your EV. Just because it doesn't need an oil and filter change doesn't mean it doesn't have other things that need to be, looked at. And you don't have to bring it to the dealer, as with any car. You can just, as long as you're following the guidelines, you can bring it to just a regular repair shop. But the second thing is when you do bring it in for scheduled maintenance, specifically ask them to do a test on the 12-volt battery so that you will have some idea of when it is starting to lose power, and then you can replace it and not get stuck not being able to get your EV going. So
yeah, I would say that like the concern is with big EV batteries about heat and cold, well, the small 12-volt battery suffers the same flaw. Yeah. And then it doesn't charge if you're doing, it doesn't have the time to charge and discharge and recharge on short trips like in a gas car. So just because you're in an EV, you're like, well, I've got plenty of range. Right. EVs are great for short trips around town or whatever, but that little battery still has the same inherent problems that it would have with a gas car. One reason also to touch on what you were saying, Kelly, is I was looking around, you need the battery because even with an EV, if there's a crash or for whatever reason the main battery, the big battery is disabled, you still need something to activate the flashers. You still need something, the hazards, and let those crazy electronic door locks,
yep,
which
exactly.
are annoying. If you can't find the emergency, you have to be able to get out. So those are definitely other reasons for it.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much, Keith, for that question. We're going to go to our second one from Daniel, who says, as we know, automakers design and sell cars that they think will succeed in various markets. If you could design a car where you source the powertrain, infotainment, interior, chassis, etc. from the automaker, what would you make? Only criteria is it has to be something you yourself would buy. And we have a little zinger thrown in from Dave that we have to name it as well.
Yeah, our producer.
Yes.
Always. He's a pain in the butt.
Yes. Is that the name of the car?
It's close.
It's close. All right. So with that, we're going to go with you first. Then.
All right. You're up.
Okay. So I hope I'm following the rules. I wasn't sure if the rule was
there's no rules.
Just had to be all current stuff or source from anywhere. So I went. My car has a 7-liter V8 from the C6 Chevrolet Corvette Z06, which made 505 beautifully naturally aspirated horsepower.
All right.
And naturally aspirated meaning it doesn't have a turbocharger or supercharger or anything like that. It would have a manual transmission from the first generation Acura NSX. And again, I know that all these things don't necessarily mesh, folks.
Oh, no, that's okay.
This is mystery time.
That gearbox, it's the best gearbox I've ever driven in my life. It's just so amazingly precise and firm and beautiful and perfect. The clutch from our 2024 Ford Mustang GT, the easiest take-up of a clutch I've ever experienced in my life. Absolutely beautiful. Okay. And again, I'm meshing all kinds of weird things together.
The current GT.
Oh yeah, the current GT. Have you driven it yet?
No, I haven't.
It's fantastic. It would be the perfect new manual transmission learner person. That's not a thing,
Which
but you know
we
what?
are teaching a person,
Okay.
Cassidy, how to drive on.
There you go.
Yep.
So, and then it would be in the rear-wheel drive chassis of a BMW 3 Series.
Okay.
Okay. Front seats would be from a Honda Civic Type R. Super well bolstered, yet super comfortable. Climate controls from basically any current Honda. Let's just say Civic, because they're just so easy to use, and those super clicky knobs are wonderful. And then instrument cluster from a Ferrari 308 or 328. Remember, I don't know if you remember those cars. They had this huge binnacle thing,
yeah,
and then the
Everything
analog
analog.
stuff. Yeah, it was so beautiful.
Viglia. Well, I can't remember the brand or the gauges, but yes, I am right there with you.
And then a steering wheel from BMW M3. These M cars always have these super thick rimmed steering wheels, wrapped in Alcantara, of course, or some kind of micro suede. And then all of this good stuff would be wrapped in the body of an Audi RS6 Avant, which, if you don't know what Avant is, Audi's term for wagon. So it would all be in a station wagon, believe it or not, folks.
What color?
Blue.
And the name.
The McQuick.
The McQuick.
So it's a long story, but my family has called me Mick instead of Mike or Michael since I was a little kid, and so I'm so arrogant that if I designed my own car, I would name it after myself. That's how arrogant I am.
Of course. All right, Kelly, you got to top that.
All right. Okay. So I had a feeling that you were going to go with a manual transmission. So I'm going to pick an electric powertrain.
All right.
So I love the sportiness of just go, no go, right? Motor, go, no go. And the low center of gravity having the battery, right? So I would probably pick the Porsche Taycan because I like how sporty that drives, low center of gravity. You kind of feel planted there when you're taking it around some curves at the speed that you can achieve with said powertrain.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to go with that. But I would pick a midsize SUV body.
Okay.
Because I have a dog, right?
Yep.
And I generally have to haul some stuff around. So I'd go with that as the body. I know this isn't possible, but all of those things. So interior, I'm also going to pick the Honda controls for the climate system. So because those are very straightforward.
Throw that Porsche stuff right out of there.
Oh yeah, no, that's gone. That's
especially,
gone.
yes.
I would do the quietness of a Mercedes, right? So we've got a lot of that sound dampening and sound canceling in there. So especially because we're EV, so we got lots of road and wind noise. So that from the Mercedes, nothing else from the Mercedes, especially those controls displays.
Not even the
Hard
scent
pass on that.
smell thing that they had for years.
Well, I don't
I'd be
know.
fine
Those-
with that.
those scent
I like
cartridges. Yeah, those maybe. There are some spa qualities of the Mercedes I might do too. Those massaging seats, real nice.
But the controls.
Controls?
Heck no.
Yes.
No, definitely no. So Honda controls there. And because I do, ADAS stuff. So I do driver assistant stuff of probably the BMW. They've got really good adaptive cruise control and things like that. I wouldn't pick the controls for said adaptive cruise control because BMW tends to think they know what you want and they call it situational distance control and you can't quickly change it. So no there. So better controls, but I'd pick all of those things. And then the name. So now since you said you're being vain, well, now I am too. So my name, Funkhauser, right? So now this isn't a house, so it's a car. So it would be the Funky Mobile. So I'm also
I like it
because I'm naming it after myself. Because if we're talking Frankenstein car, it's going to be a little funky.
So
Funky Mobile it is.
I like that you took, like I went old school on a lot of stuff. I like that you took you just meshed all your favorite current stuff together.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
kinda-
no, I need all the luxury.
Yeah,
there, too.
I like that.
Oh, wait, I forgot to add one thing, too. It needs both heated and ventilated seats that can be turned on at the same time, which some Mercedes and then our new Volkswagen, because you don't want to get sweaty when you're warm. You want to
that
have
is a thing.
the
Okay,
air
I didn't-
circulating. So that's probably my number one priority right there.
There you go. I will. Okay.
That is
Something to think about.
Yeah, no. That is a thing. I've seen I've seen that a lot. Talked about running. Some allow you to run at the same
Yeah,
time.
it's
So
great.
yes,
It's great. Try it if you have.
I will. Absolutely.
So I kind of went the way you were. It had to be cars that we've purchased for testing and I've driven.
Okay.
So can't go some of the stuff before CR. That I just set my own rules. Yeah. So I'm going to take the Porsche 991 7-speed manual gearbox.
Okay.
And the clutch. So that entire part of the powertrain. that gearbox knew like where you were driving, in the sense of, PDK, the automatic, sometimes you're like, oh, it can anticipate and based on this. And the manual seemed to know what gear you had to be in at the moment, what was coming up down the road. Like it's a fantastic gearbox. So I appreciate the NSX gearbox, but I like that one. I would too take the engine from the C8 Corvette. I would just take the V8 because we drove the 6.2. We didn't drive the Z06 engine. I would put that into an Audi A6, the C8 current generation platform. I prefer the A7 body style. We did drive.
Love the A7 body
the
style.
previous one, maybe, so if I can push my rules to the edges, I'll drive the A7 body style. Also, their current infotainment, just in that, not manual, but of the touchscreen ones, I think that the split works very well.
Split screen
You can
screen.
run the climate and not have to worry about like getting in and out of this. There's not a controller. There's not so that works well enough for the modern systems. Hard to choose the interior. So what I won't go with is a Ford product because the seats are awful. I just do not work with Ford seats. I wanted to talk about the Lyric, go with those seats maybe, but the controls are so awful that threw that aside. Mazda seats, they're bricks.
Okay, so what seats do you
All right.
like?
I'm telling you what, but I'm saying, like, I went through, in a lot of things. It's easy. Probably the Range Rover Sport seats, or maybe the EQS seats, Mercedes-Benz EQS.
are great.
GV70, those are options. I'd have to, try them out. I want the interior storage of a Jeep Grand Cherokee. Like big center console, big door pockets, good bottle holders and such. It just works. The phone storage is good. The materials, quality of the Audi or Genesis, and the sound insulation of an X5. So close to that. I was gonna call it the Lance PowerPlay 951 because of cycling, hockey, and my car. I don't really have a good name for it. It could be the M2 Abrams, because there's
What's the
there's
body
an
style?
M1 Abrams.
Did you tell us what the body style is?
Yeah, I wanted in the Audi A6.
Oh,
platform and
that's
body.
right,
Yeah, because I want a sedan. I don't want an SUV. Need it to be for family. Fortunately, don't have a dog. So,
I like
fortunately,
it.
I don't have to carry around a dog. I would like to, but that's it. So that's where it's going to go. That's my car.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So designers, look to us.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh,
we've
and
got
one
some
thing.
great ideas for you.
I do want this to be quality controlled by Toyota because I don't want to have to repair
No
all this
reliability
expensive. I want the reliability of a
Okay.
Toyota.
Reliability of a Toyota.
Not the interior, not the driving experience, but I want the reliability of it. So.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, okay. So on that note, we want you to go to our YouTube page, and if you're there, look for the poll that we've got. Vote on which one of these three, cars are the best choices, the best choice, and we'll let you know on a future episode who wins.
Oh boy.
Anyway, so that does it for this episode. Thanks as always for watching. Send your questions to us, talkingcars@icloud.com, videos, text, whatever method you can send it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.